Hi, my name is Richard Ewa. I'm originally from Ghana and I'm into handcraft leatherworks. I design bags, ladies stuff like clutch bags, the wrist wallets. This is a unique of its kind that I'm trying to come up with. And then I'm into also different kind of accessories, earrings, necklaces, but all made with leather. That is what I'm really into. My brand name is Raw. I started this leather stuff during 2011, but I wasn't really sure about it. Because I was into beauty, but I switched because as time goes on, sitting in a place of trying to wait for client to come in, I don't like to sit because there's no time to waste. So I decided to get into this leather business. But for me to start it, I had to be sure if I'm not going to waste the product or money being involved in buying it, because leather is very expensive. So I tried to go get second-hand leather jackets for the ladies own, because it's very long. To cut them, make pieces of patterns and see if I'll be able to make use of it. So that is what I did. Bought the materials, and I realized that I wasn't wasting it. So that is how I started to do some small purses, coin case, card holders, and that is how I started into this leather, handcrafted into it. My little research that I made, it was 90s to late 90s was when leather began to fade in this nation, because there are other people that want a lot of income, begin to bring inferior material that looks like leather. So as a small entrepreneur trying to come up with this leather stuff, it's not been so easy, because to introduce leather work, it's not easy. And to start your own business, what happened is a lot of money that I make on the leather, on the saloon aspect, I push it into the leather work. So it's not been easy. And then the marketing strategy, like how do you convince people to something that they are no more used to? So it's not been easy. If I said it's been easy, it is not. And then specifically the target market, who are we targeting? Is it the youth? Is it the elderly people? For now, it's the elderly people that they have had a taste of the leather before. So for you to introduce it to them, it's much more easier than the youth, because the youth are no more, they are not used to leather work, and they think it's expensive, and the raw material is not cheap. So that is the challenge about it. And for people to step in, come in with their money to help you out, it's not easy, because they think that the market is very tight. For you to sell a bag for 1,000 rand, they'll rather go somewhere and get it for 50 rand, because they don't care either it's gonna break tomorrow or not. So it's very, very tough corner whereby I find myself. But I believe that as we're beginning to shoot out, like expose ourselves, people will get back to the track with leather handcrafted products. There's a lot of challenges in industry. I chose to work with leather, because it's not more common. And I went to this trend by using my hands to stitch with hand stitches, because every bag that has been designed out there, you could see the stitches are the same. So what will make mine different is the stitches that I put myself in. Sometimes people like, did you use your hands to stitch this? I say, yes, I did. So they will come closer to it and say, okay, wow, this is true. So I chose to use my hands to stitch all this work that I'm doing, just for it to become unique. That when people say, but what is the difference between your work and this one? I will say, check the stitches. Because sometimes when you use machine to stitch, it can jump. It does lose. I busy fix people's bags whilst they use machine to stitch. So with hand stitches, with hand details are unique. It's the nature. It's a natural nature design within. So as you're using your hand to stitch, there's another idea that comes. So what makes my work different, and I chose this path, is the stitches that I embattle on, or I put Jenny on. Because if you use your hand to stitch, you can't go wrong. If there's something wrong, you lose it again, you go back, you make sure it's done nicely. But when using a machine, what about if it jams twice? You are not there when the machine is stitching, because you can't go underneath of the machine to check if it's stitching nicely. But if you use your hands, it makes it unique and then perfect, and you believe it because you've seen it. Seeing is believing, right? Yeah. So that is the uniqueness about my work as a small business, small entrepreneur that I've to start with my business. First step, it's you have to persistence, because it wasn't easy for me even to register my company. There are things that you think it's easy. Even for me to able to register Raw Leather Works was very, very tough. I tried several times going to this place. They will tell you, they send you an email, you didn't receive it. But with persistence and pushing, I was able to register it. So if you have a good idea, you have a good plan, you have something better to have in mind. So far as it's on paper, it is written. Whatever that you write on paper, you can never forget it. The Bible says, write the vision down, so those who can read it can run with it. So if you have a vision, if you have a purpose you have discovered, if it's not on paper, you would end up giving up. So let it be on paper. Don't give up. Make sure it is done. Work it on together. Don't give up. Just have to push. And you have to pray to God for one thing. Let Him let you meet the right people at the right time. Because the people you surround yourself with, it will determine either you're going to succeed or not. So as a little beginning with this business, I need to always focus myself on people that are already in the business. How did they do it? Where did they fail? If you work with people who are successful in the business that you're doing, you're not gonna fail, because they will tell you where they fail. Then you will not fail at that point. The best teacher, it's someone's past mistakes, not what you go through, what someone been through, and will tell you then you didn't walk the same path. So it's always good to align yourself with people that are already in the system, and what they go through, you will also be successful through that. So that is the little I could say about upcoming entrepreneurs. Nothing comes easy, because when it comes easy, you lose it easy. So you work for it. Work is what you become, because that is what the belief all comes in. You work. Work is what you become. Your work comes out of you. So whatever that does not wake you up from bed, it's not your work, it's your job. Because if you hate to wake up in doing anything, it is your job. But what you love to wake up with is your work, because your work is the indwelling ability of God that He has put into every man to be successful in that area. There is something that always bothered my mind, especially in South Africa. I'll just say a little about where I'm coming from. In Ghana, if they take you to school, if you're schooling, normally from grade 8, 9, 10 to 12, there's a kind of course that it's part of our calendar in school, that you are compelled to learn a craft work, either carpentry or building, or something that you could use your hand to do. So when your parents are not able to finance you to continue your education, that is a skill that you have already have a foundation of, so you're not going to struggle. But when I got here, I realized that there is a lot of privileges given to South Africans, but they don't see it. They always think the government owns them something. You are the government. The president is not the government, you are. And there is one thing that we should always understand. God has given every man or woman this act called indwelling ability that is in everybody. Nobody was created empty. You came with something in you. The future is not ahead of you, it is inside of you. So what you need to do when you sit down to ask yourself, what am I good at? Am I good at with my hands, or am I good at talking? Am I good at using my hands to write? Or if there is everything, there is something in us. So if you don't sit down to discover yourself, no government will come anywhere to make you better. You make yourself better. The choice you make is in you. So the youth in this country, they have to wake up and sit and understand that whoever you want to become is not in the hands of the government, it's in you. But I bless the nation of South Africa for the kind of support they give to people that discover themselves. Because if you have a good plan and you present it on paper and you present it to the government, there is nothing comes easy. So you don't say, I went once to present my idea and they didn't mind me. You push until they buy the idea. Let the idea be a plan on paper that could help other people. So if you have a brilliant idea as a South African, you can never lack. But they are just, I don't know, you see, they have to renew their mind. The mentality of freedom has made them think everything is cooked to be eaten. There's nothing like giving birth and they give you houses for free. In Ghana, you work for it. There's nothing for free. So I bless this nation. It's a beautiful concept that they're giving to people. If they see you have a good idea, it is easy for you to be helped. So you don't sit down and say it's gonna happen. So I love this place, seriously. You know, sometimes for you to be able to get to where you're going, especially here, you have to help other people. And the concept that I have is to help other people, to transfer the skill to them. But if they are willing to know, they will know it. It's indwelling ability. It's in you. Everybody has it. You know, so you don't wait to say, government should do this, government should do that. What are you doing? You've got to do it. It's in you. So the only thing is, we can help as Raw Handcraft. We can help to help people to discover themselves. You know, because nobody was born with no hands. And those who don't have hands have legs. Those who don't have legs have eyes. Those who don't have eyes have ears. So there is something. So if you are not whole, there is something you can still do. So you don't need to wait for government. The government should do something for you. If you don't do anything, you're going nowhere. That's all that I can say about that. In terms of marketing, you know, there was a time that I was introduced to Soda Fashion Week. So I went to that side for an audition, and they were amazed with the work that I have come up with. So Soda Fashion Week was an avenue whereby I do market myself. There are 2 seasons in a year, winter season and then summer. So I always have to come up with a beautiful concept that people buy tickets to come and see what upcoming designers are bringing on board. So that is where I do market myself. Also on Instagram, I also have a page. It's Raw Leather Works, and then also on Facebook, Raw Leather Works. So that is where I market myself. And there was a time I went to Grahamstown Festival, you know, where I had a lot of exposure because people really don't believe that leather works still exist in this country, because it faded away early 90s. It faded away because people were no more interested, because the challenge with leather works is very, very, very tough, you know. So that is why I normally market myself. And also clients that comes in those days to do their hair, to do their nails, it's like, no, why don't you go here? So that is where I used to market myself. Aside that, yeah, that's a little I could say about the marketing aspect. But I still need more, you know, more exposure where we could target where this thing is needed. You might have a good product, but if you don't have the main place where people need it, it will be there, and you wouldn't know. Others they are seriously craving for leather works, but if you don't know where they are, your product might be perfect, neat, clean, exclusive, but you might not be able to sell.